So it's summertime, right? Because I made a spot. Yeah. So if you're outside, what are some of the things that you see when you're outside? Birds and bugs, okay. That's a pretty well balanced. Yeah. So and what? And lizards. Yeah. And what about something else that I remember? What are these? Category. But you know, they're beautiful ones, aren't they? Yeah. So I don't mind these kind of butterflies, ice bullets. And butterflies, they can problem like what is that? That's right. Maybe that's the really good one. So there's some good bugs and some yucky bugs and some really bad bugs. So, you know, you got an alley on your knee. Oh yeah? Yeah, you talk to friends, friends and two dogs a couple of times. And there you go. Got a little skin knee, okay? Yeah. Pastor Trish. Those things happen, don't they? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each a butterfly. They're exactly the same. And these are stickers that you can put on the butterfly to make the butterfly beautiful. Because we're glad we have butterflies, right? So, oh, you're going to put one on right away. Okay. Why not? So, there you go. That's it. God made butterflies. Give us beauty in the summertime. Okay. You can do that back in your seats, okay? Well, several weeks ago, I told a story about a man who God asked to carry 3 stones to the top of the hill. But he got distracted by other people's needs, and he continued to add to his load until he was unable to move the cart up the hill. Do you remember that story? He cried out to God and complained and said, God, why are you doing this to me? And God said, I didn't do this to you. You added to it. I only asked you to carry 3 stones. This week I kind of had a predicament sort of like this, and I'm going to share it. I was contacted by the new Senior Life Solutions program that was begun at Southeast Colorado Hospital. It's an outpatient mental health program designed to support older adults facing symptoms of depression, anxiety, grief, or emotional challenges of aging. So they have this new center open. They're recruiting people to come to the center and be a part of the program. But what I found out was they don't even have a therapist. They contacted me because they wanted me to become the therapist for this program. Somebody had told them that I had a degree in counseling and that I had done counseling with people in the community that had been helpful. So they asked me to work 3 days a week doing counseling and leading therapy groups. You know, I was a bit overwhelmed by the offer, It was kind of nice to be asked, but it seemed a bit overwhelming. Yes, I have a master's degree in pastoral counseling, so there I was good there. I've got years of experience in counseling, so check off that. I could do it. But all I could feel was my wagon getting heavier, heavier, and heavier. 3 days a week. I don't know if you know that when you go to counseling, that the counselor gets fatigued from hearing all of the problems that are shared with her. So I thought about that fatigue from hearing everybody's problems. And the fact that I'm still healing from my little owie up here, my post-traumatic brain injury. If I do too much in a day, boy, I know I'm doing too much. So I told them when they asked, I'll think and pray about it. That's all I could respond. I was really feeling overwhelmed. And as I prayed about it, I realized that this was not something that God put in my heart. Yes, the need was real. Yes, they could do the job. I'm sure I could. But the bigger question was, is God calling me to this? Isn't it nice to know that we have a way to find out what we're supposed to do? Because if I hadn't been worried about if God was calling me about this, I probably would have said yes, I can do it. I just, suck it up, do it, and be okay. But was God calling me to do this? As I prayed about it, it became more and more clear to me that God was not calling me to do this. So I was supposed to give them a response tomorrow, but I've already given them my response because it became really clear to me. And I wrote this. And I said, I've been praying about this opportunity. I understand your need, but I must decline. I do not have the energy to do this. I have never worked in a secular setting. And that's true. All my counseling is with Jesus in the middle of it. How can I counsel people without talking about Jesus? And I believe I need to keep my focus on my calling as a pastor. So sorry. Your need is on my prayer list. Thank you for thinking. I sent it off, told my prayer partners that I had asked a couple of people to pray about this. And I just felt this weight lifted on me. And the surprising thing to me was that joy filled my soul. Joy. My response to all of this was joy. Not joy that they asked me or any of that, but just joy that I was able to figure it out with God what to do and not to keep putting stones in my cart, but to just do what God's called me to do, which is focus on my calling as a pastor. That's our focus. So when we, in obedience, do what God asks us, or doesn't ask in one case, it brings us joy. And joy is our theme for here. And here it is, once again, showing up. Jesus wants his followers to experience great joy. I'm convinced of this. Even as late as his Last Supper, Jesus let his followers know that they would find joy and heart in prayer. In John 16:24 it says, "Until now you have asked nothing in my name. Ask and you will receive, that your joy will be full." Joy will be full. I know Christians are supposed to be joyful people, and I realize joy is a result of having the Spirit within you. Among all people on the earth, Christians have the greatest reason to be full of joy. But sometimes life steps in, bumps, or joy. We know we should feel it, but sometimes we just don't. So the questions emerge. Is joy something that I should just wait for? Or will it come down upon me? Or do I just need to seek it? When we put rocks in our cart that God doesn't want us to have in there, we become resentful, overtired, and complaining. I've been there several times in my life. Sure we all have, where we just got too much. Because we said yes one time too much. But when we are carrying a load that God has appointed for us, for that day only, we can be filled with joy. Filled with joy. Searching, finding, being obedient. The result is my heart being filled with joy. And yours can too.
Baby, too strong. Joy. And where God calls us to do something. And then your message today, and I've been challenged with if when God calls us to do something, we need to do it. And Satan wants to put more rocks in our cart. We need to resist it, but not forget that we still got a job to do. We've got to get them 3 rocks to the top. And the older I get, the more I find I need more rest stops. And occasionally I get, instead of stopping to rest and you forget to move again. And so I've been blessed and challenged to stay on task, I guess, is what I'm saying. That we have a job to do and seek out God's calling. And when we understand that, then we need to be diligent about completing the task. So I'm just every once in a while, the person up front needs to know that they haven't just been preaching to wood. This would soak some of it in.
See? We'll have our closing.
Turn to 398.
Now let's go forth. May our cups be filled. May we listen with ears attuned to the Spirit. And may we walk in the footsteps of Jesus. Amen.